All right, everybody, so we are about to go into another coast to coast video. I absolutely love these. We get to see what other gardeners are doing around the country, and if you're in their zones, this helps give you ideas of what you can be doing or what other gardeners are doing in those zones. So I say at the beginning of a lot of videos, sit back, relax, grab your coffee, but truly sit back, relax, grab your coffee. Let's have some fun coast to coast. So right off the bat though, before we get into this video, we are missing one of our participants that is usually in this video with us, and that's Brian from Next Level Gardening. Here's what I want to say. If you pray and you're a prayer warrior, please lift his family up in prayers. That's all I'm going to say. They've come into a really hard time literally this week. And so he's not going to be joining us. I'd much rather him focus on his family. Just please lift up his family in prayers if you choose to do so. All right, so I'm walking around the garden literally for the first time since I made the snow video, which I believe was Tuesday. And honestly, everything doesn't look very bad. But we're going to get into my garden at the end of the video. But first, let's go back inside so I can start doing some other stuff and we can check out what's going on around the coast. So, Project Help Desk over there in North Carolina, take it away.
Ooh, it's cold.
Hello, friends, and welcome to glorious frozen Zone 7B, North Carolina, and what is left of the Project Help Desk garden. As you can see right now, there isn't pretty much anything going on outside in the garden, and my poor garlic is, well, I guess we'll find out come March whether or not it's actually surviving underneath here or not. I may have needed to put a little bit more of God's mulch on top of that. Time will also tell whether or not these carrots are going to survive this winter as well. Now, once all this is gone, we do have some plans. We finally went ahead and found some fencing that we think will keep out our woodchuck this year, and we're trying to figure out exactly how to get that over here and put up a metal fence. Now, one thing that we have to be careful of is that we sort of did the taboo of we built a garden on top of our septic tank. Well, the tank itself is accessible, but if we put a permanent fence up, then a truck may not be able to get in here if an emergency comes up and we need to have something pumped out. So we're going to have to put up a fence that can be easily removed in the event of an emergency. We're now sitting with about 2.5 inches of snow and crunchy ice on top of everything. Long story short, outdoors, we're not really doing a lot right now, which means our only real option is to work on getting our seeds ordered and getting our gardening center downstairs cleaned up and ready to go. So that this year we can start a month or two earlier than we did last year.
I love snow, but I hate cold weather.
You know those two always go together though, right?
Yeah.
So does anyone else feel like a 3-year-old whenever you're trying to write on these cups? Like all right, so right off the bat, Project Help Desk, you two crack me up. Like seriously, I hate the cold, but I love the snow. Or I love the snow, but I hate the cold. That's exactly how I feel. Love the snow, cannot stand the cold. So that was funny. You definitely got me laughing at the end of that video. And I want to say this, about 5 or 6 days ago, my garlic and carrots were under about 4 inches of snow, and they're just fine today. Like they look happy to me. So I think you're going to be fine with that. And I wanted to say one thing on your video is you brought up a really good point. They mentioned that they started their garden over their septic tank, but it's still accessible. That's really important, and I always say this when you're planting your garden, whether it's a raised bed or one of the ones up off the ground, or a lifted up raised bed, or an in the ground bed, either way, you always got to think about everything. Is there too much shade? Is there not enough shade? What's the sun pattern on your yard, etc., etc. But also thinking about what's under the ground is also important. I have a bed out there that the cords run all over the place to my neighbor's yards and to my house, and I'm just off the side of one of those cords. So you've got to be thinking about that. That was a great point that you all brought up, and again, you two crack me up. I absolutely love your videos. And did anybody else notice the great book that he had in his video? Same one here. For those of you that have not got this book, This isn't just a seed catalog. I've said this 1,000 times, but there are stories in here of people all around the world and what they do for that specific vegetable or their climate or whatever. I mean, there's great stories in this book. So if you're not into getting seed catalogs, I highly recommend trying this one for sure. There's a lot of good reading in here, y'all, not just seeds. Okay, now having said all that, I love that video. We definitely see what they're doing out there in North Carolina, but let's kick it up north to Big Will Dog 82 in the soil and see what's going on in Zone 6A there in Indiana. Big Will, take it away, homie.
Hey guys, Big Will Dog 82 in the soil, and I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what's going on here in Indiana, Zone 6A, this time of year. Garlic outside. We've got some plants on the inside here that we're working on. And I've also got my worm bin, which are the 3 biggest tasks that I'm doing right now because spring's only around the corner and I'm going to be ready.
Guys, here in my backyard, it is a balmy 5 degrees, which means right now in the shade, it's probably negative 30. No, not really. It's not too windy today, but it is cold and everything is froze. So we're gonna check up on my garlic because, to tell you the truth, I haven't looked at it in a while. So yeah. Also, I also want to mention that when I was in basic, which was in San Antonio, Texas, people used to sit there and say, you know, TI, it's cold. And then my TI ended up saying something very profound to us, which was, it's not cold outside. It's called motivation. Motivate your ass to get back inside where it's warm, or to get done what I'm telling you to get done. So that's what I'm doing. I'm being motivated. As you can see, everything's pretty much the way we left it. Oh, I got a little bit of green still there. Oh, it blew off. That's why. And some of these blew off too. I'm not going all the way over there because I've got my house shoes on outside and I'm trying not to get them all, you know, snow covered. Now I'm motivating my behind to get back in the house. And this is my main bed, my main feeding bed. So what we're gonna do is drop the rest of these pieces of eggshell in there. These guys are getting fat. If you can see that. They're just everywhere in here. Just grabbing places. That's what you want to see. Happy, working worms, doing their thing, making me my worm castings for me to use come spring. I mean, that's why they're inside. As you can obviously tell, I just gave them their first feeding. I think it's been about 10 days since the last feeding I gave them. And since we've got a big population in here, I decided to go ahead and give them a decent feeding, which should hold them over for another 10 days. And on top, that's just bedding, which is just cocoa core, which you can see right there. Last but certainly not in the least is my seed starting or plants. Most of this is lettuce. I've got some thyme and rosemary that I had to restart in these, and they'll take forever to germinate usually, but they grow so slowly that I've just got to get them started now if I want to be able to have some plants to plant out when it warms up outside. Back there, those are my onions, which, as you can tell, are all popped up and everything. So now it's just taking care of them until they're ready to go out. I've got several types of lettuce in here. Some of them are heading lettuces, some of them are just leaf lettuces, and those will, what doesn't get eaten by myself or my wife, will be fed to the worms. I'm letting them go all the way to seed, well, mature seed. That way I can harvest them and have plenty of seeds to replace for when it comes time to planting in the spring. I will be starting some other plants and stuff here in a little while. This is just the beginning of it, really.
And with that, we're done. We've got garlic outside. We've got plants right behind me. And my biggest activity that I've been doing is my worm bin. I brought it inside from the garage so it wouldn't get cold, my worms wouldn't slow down, and they'll keep on doing what they're supposed to do. For now, I'm gonna let you guys go. So, thanks for coming along. This is Big Wheel Dog in the Soil. I'm out of here. See you guys later.
All right, so as you can see, I'm inside. I'm up potting tomato plants. I've already done quite a few over there. Remember, when you're doing this, drain holes in the bottom of your cups if you're going to use a styrofoam cup or a solo cup or anything like that. Make sure you remember the drain holes. And remember what I said a few videos back about packing in the soil to your seeds. When you're starting your seed starts, really pack them in. This is why. Look how solid that seed start is. It's perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and start planting this. And while I'm doing this, let's talk about that video. Big Wheel Dog. Brother, you brought up the worm bin farming, and it's one thing I forgot to do, and I'm kind of annoyed with myself, but everything got away from me. But I think you've really tapped into something. I haven't actually thought about worm farming until I started watching your videos, and it's a great idea. I mean, think about it, y'all. You totally take all the worms out of one bin, and then you can use all of that soil for your planting mixes and stuff, and it's full of worm castings, which if you go to Walmart or any of the big box stores, you gotta go buy a bag of worm casting. Well, why not do it yourself, just like Big Wheel Dog there is talking to us about. And then I also want to say this, y'all saw his ribbon with the hashtag Garlic Challenge 2025. If y'all didn't know, he's the one that actually came up with this challenge because he challenged me. We tweaked it a little bit and opened it up to everybody. So the garlic challenge was actually his idea. So giving you credit where credit is due. You know what I'm saying? So great video. Your seeds all look great. And then did anyone else notice the beans growing on his plants already? You're onto something right there. So he had some great ideas there up there in zone 6A. But let's drop back down here to the south to my boys Dell and Chuck over in Louisiana, zone 9A. See what's going on with those Cajun guys. Take it away, Dell.
Howdy y'all, Dell here with OSKG. We wanted to share with y'all what we're growing in our garden in the month of January. I actually wish this video would have been recorded a few weeks ago because we just had some massive harvest in the garden. We grew some huge cabbage heads, like massive ones. We harvested some cauliflower, some broccoli. I have a little cheat sheet here. About 4 or 5 different kinds of radishes. We did a harvest and taste on that. You might want to go check that out and find out that we are not radish people. Now we do still have several things growing on out there in the garden. We have got more cabbage, which was the early Jersey Wakefield cabbage, I believe. We've got some purple Savoy cabbage growing out there. We have about 4 different types of carrots growing out there. My cheat sheet, we have some Brussels sprouts that's actually forming the little Brussels sprouts, unlike last year. We have celery that looks beautiful, and we have collards growing out there. Now, for this month in January, with that stuff growing out there, we are going to plant a few other things like some beets and stuff like that, but we are mainly focusing on flowers. Yes, in Louisiana, the month of January, you can start a bunch of flower seeds out in your garden, sow the seeds, because down here it gets so hot so fast that it will fry your flowers if they even germinate once summer gets here. So, nasturtiums. I'm starting like 5 different kinds of nasturtiums. We are starting some alyssum, some hollyhock, poppies, zinnias. Supposedly we can start wildflower mixes, and Chuck bought a bunch of wildflower mixes. Let's see what else is in here. Snapdragons, milkweed, 2 different kinds. I'm kind of very excited to grow the swamp milkweed. How appropriate for Louisiana, since we're down here in the bayous and the swamps. And borage. I've never grown borage, and I saw that on my buddy Doug, the Crop Gardener's channel, that he grew last summer, so I'm really excited to try borage. I hope y'all have had a great Christmas, a great New Year's. Thanks for checking us out. If you have not, please go subscribe to OSKG. And a big thank you to Chad for doing this coast to coast gardening. It was such a brilliant idea. I've enjoyed doing it. I've enjoyed meeting the other gardeners in this and watching their videos and checking them out, because that's what this is all about. Making new friends, seeing people that you might not have seen before until they were in the video. So thank y'all as always for listening, checking us out, stopping by, and we will talk at you later. Thanks, Chad.
Okay, so the soil that I'm using here is Happy Frog. Now, I used this last year. It did great, but I used it kind of toward the end of the summer time frame. This year in 2025, I'm going to actually focus on using a lot of this material along with some others, at least right now. And then once we get into spring and we can start doing planting outside, I'm going to start using a specific soil that I made last year for my peppers. But until then, I'm using this Happy Frog soil. It's really, really good stuff. This is just the regular Happy Frog. This isn't the C one, the Neptune one, or I forgot the name of it. I'll put it up right here. This is just the regular Happy Frog soil. It's really good, and I highly recommend it. Now, Dale and Chuck, guys, your cabbages are great. Like, I can't grow a cabbage for anything. I just can't. I don't know why, but I'm very jealous of your all's cabbage game. And your radishes looked really good. If y'all didn't notice, you see I was all chopped up, and that was like picture perfect, right? So it looked really good. And I gotta say, the fact that you all are growing flowers and showcasing that is really, really cool, because I'm doing the same thing. I haven't started showcasing it as much yet, but flowers are important. And if you're a beginner gardener, you all should be really focusing on flowers for your garden. And I know you're like, man, I want to grow tomatoes and cucumbers and everything and just have the biggest harvests ever. But remember, you kind of need pollinators. Flowers are important. So I always say the rule should be a 30-70 split, 30% flowers, 70% vegetables. That just brings in a lot of different types of pollinators. And if you noticed, all the flowers Dale was listing, they all have different shaped flowers. And what I mean by that is they're not all just like a rose or a daisy or whatever. They're all different shaped flowers. And that's important because you got to bring in different types of pollinators that come to different shaped flowers. Does that make sense? I'm going to be doing a lot of flower planting very soon, because for me and Dale and Chuck there, March 1st is our last expected frost date. So right around March 1st, 5 weeks from now, we can start getting stuff outside in the garden. So if you have not started your flower game, guys, I highly suggest you do it. Another great video, y'all. Another lot of good information there. But now let's go back up north to zone 6B, check in with Doug, the crop gardener, and see what he's got going on up there in all that snow.
Hey everybody, Doug, the crop gardener here. This is the garden. Hey everybody, we got over a foot of snow over the last month or so. Well, probably the last 2 weeks. And then a huge polar vortex came in and we got down into the teens and even lower. One day I even showed a -4 on my little switch spot thermometer here. So zone 6B has been quite cold. So as you can see, nothing really going on in the garden except for a couple of things. I got my hoop house here and I got my cold frame over here. So let's go inside and we'll take a peek at these things. You want to? Let's check it out. So the first things first is the cold frame. You can see I have this old storm door supported up on some cinder blocks. Got some wood around it. Got some insulation over here to keep the sides nice and warm. The snow actually has been helping keep the wind out. So this thing gets pretty warm in the daytime. You can see my plants are doing phenomenal in here. I got some turnips that are growing like crazy. I believe I got some spinach in there and some carrots. You can also see I got Christmas lights located in here too. When it got down to those below zero temperatures, I mean, we're talking like 0 degrees Fahrenheit. I turned that Christmas lights on at night, and that helps keep things a little bit warmer in here. So you can see we're doing pretty good in here. I got some cabbages and some different things that I want to bring out here. Tried to see how well they work. My problem is going to be the height of everything and see how the tallness of everything affects. You can kind of see here I got leaves already pressing up against the glass here. But that is the cold frame. All right, let's take you in the warmth of the hoop house. I checked the temperature on this guy and it was over 70 degrees earlier. So you can see we got some turnips growing in here. Got some purple top turnips there. And amongst the Christmas lights, you can see I got carrots growing. That is awesome. But it's like a little miniature jungle in here. You can see my little switch bot hanging up from that over there as well. Yeah, so all in all, I am pleased with the way things are going in here. I do have some more excitement. We got to go inside the house for that. Let's go check that out where it's nice and warm in there. Okay, guys, we're in the basement. Give you a little tour of what I got going down here. Got me a couple jalapenos that are doing very good that I'm overwintering. Got a couple trees I got from the Arbor Day Foundation. They are doing so-so. But check out my broccoli, some cabbage, and some pak choy. And then I got some Brussels sprouts, all growing. I also got some onion starts that I'm doing. And in here, I just planted these the other day. There's nothing really to see in here. I do have some more cabbage growing, as well as some peppers growing in here. Those haven't sprouted out yet. So what I'm finding out is that I can grow a lot still in this cold weather. Hence why I'm starting that next batch of cabbage up. I feel like if I get that next batch of cabbage going, I can expand my hoop house a little bit, put those in there, and by April, maybe May, I'll be eating some cabbage. So cheers, everybody. Take care. Hope it's staying warm where you're at. Hope you're able to still grow something.
Okay, y'all, so why am I up potting these tomatoes? Well, the main thing for tomato plants, when you want to have a strong root system. So one really good trick, not really a trick, a really good rule to follow is once your true leaves of your tomato plants, and I also do this for my pepper plants, but once the true leaves come on. Okay, so what do I mean by true leaves? These right here are not true leaves. These are from the seed. I'll put the name of them up right here. The true leaves are the ones that actually look like the correct leaf for the plant. Those are the true leaves. Once those start to form is when I up pot my seed starts from the seed trays into a larger container, and I start adding a soil that has nutrition in it. Now, I always preach, because it's what I've always done and it works. A seed does not need a potting soil, it needs a seed start. It just needs something to hold the seed and to allow it to germinate. But what I do is as soon as the true leaves start to come on, and I'm actually a few days late on these tomato plants here, I want to get them potted up or up potted with a nutritious soil so they can start allowing the hairs that are on a tomato plant the potential to go ahead and turn into roots, which will make a stronger and a thicker root ball, which you want when you go to transplant them outside. You want to give those tomato plants the best chance they have to take off and be a viable plant. Who would have ever thought, honestly, of using Christmas lights as a heat source? That absolutely blew my mind, and maybe I'm late to the party here on that, but I've never even thought of that, and it worked. He said, what, 4 degrees? Something like that, really, really low, and inside that cold frame in the hoop house, I mean, y'all see the jungle that he's growing? That's awesome. So if you're up there in that area dealing with all that snow, there's an example of what you can do to continue gardening through the winter. I mean, that was awesome. It blew my mind. I love it. And I feel one thing, that I have joined a group, because last week, this is what my backyard looked like. So I joined everyone who deals with snow, and I feel like I'm one of y'all, maybe for a few days. Y'all deal with a lot, but y'all don't deal with 3 months of straight up 100-degree plus weather and 90% humidity. So I got you there, but I'm glad I was able to join the snow group. We should call it something, I don't know. I'm gonna say this, I'm jealous of your basement, man. I wish I had a basement, a place where I didn't have seeds all over the house and I could focus everything. So I love that you have a basement. And did anyone notice, and he didn't even touch on this, but did anyone notice his sweet potato game that he's got going? The sweet potato slips, bro, look great. So you're on point there. I love that. And hey, if you all have not gone over to the Crock Gardener's channel and checked out his seed swap that he has going right now, I think you still have a week left in that. I could be wrong. But go over, check out his channel, look for this video right here if you're interested in swapping seeds. I think it's a great idea. He's running that, so I just want to give him the support in that. And I think y'all will be surprised with how cool this is going to be. And there might be something extra in his seed swap. I don't know, just a little birdie told me something. So another great video, Doug, really appreciate it. Now, let's jump back down here south, in the south, over to Florida, to Destin, Florida, zone 9B, and check in with Bowtie Life. So take it away, man.
Hello and welcome to the Bowtie Gardens. I'm Bowtie Dave. I'm from Bowtie Life. Just like Chad, we are sharing some weather this time of year. We are zone 9B. We're down the coast and we have experienced this snow that all these southern states have been through. We ended up with just over 5 inches of snow here, a record-breaking snow, something to be remembered for the ages. If you go back 130 years or more, there's no record of a snow this big in this area. Unlike most of the gardens out there, I'm expecting people would think, oh, you're growing seedlings. What kind of seedlings are you growing? Well, I am not. And we have no seedlings started anywhere on the property. That's because of a few reasons, but number one, we have overwintered a whole bunch of stuff. First off, we've got hot peppers that we dug out of the ground. We put in these small pots and we're just letting them sit here dormant in tiny pots that kind of keep them in their small state, not growing very fast. But when the season changes, things get hotter, we're gonna put them in the ground and these things will explode again, folks, for the 4th year in a row. 3 years these things have been growing and they're gonna be 4 years old, and we're gonna see how much gets produced off of these wonderful looking pepper plants. In addition to the peppers, if you've seen any of my tours, you might have seen that we harvested a record amount of ginger and turmeric. And we are actually storing it in ever so slightly damp soil from the garden. And these will sit here until they're ready to get planted out in March, which is coming up pretty quick, people. It's only a few weeks away. And these things will be going back in the ground and starting to grow new turmeric and new ginger plants. And I'm very excited about that. One little distraction to development this year is our remodel project. We are embarking on a very large remodel project for our house, and we've been living here for 3 years, and we've decided what we want to do with this blank slate property as far as the indoors, and we're installing cabinets, we're scraping ceilings, painting walls, we're even pulling out carpet and putting in tile and doing a whole bunch of other things that's kind of slowing us down in the garden just a little bit. Which really leads to my third point, is that we're growing something in the garden. We're growing some mercy and grace for the things that haven't happened yet. And we also talk about how it's too soon to plant seeds, but we plant them anyway. Also, growing is a little bit of patience. And I've been working on this for a number of years. I've planted too early many times. This year, thanks to this project of remodeling, we're not planting these seedlings too early. And so we're just enjoying the landscape as it is, the garden, and right now the snow, which is just amazing. Thank you for visiting Bowtie Life, and we look forward to seeing you next month, when I guarantee we're going to have some seedlings growing.
Okay, so like I said, I have seed starting stuff everywhere. right here by my front door, right there. And because of the snow that was coming, along with the 20-degree nights and all that, I have my container garden right here in my house with my one overwintered pepper plant right there, which you can't really see. So on that note, Dave really has his overwintering pepper game going. I mean, he said those are going on their 5th year. Now, I knew, and I've always said that peppers are perennials, but man, he's taking that to a whole nother level, and that's awesome. I wish I had done that. I didn't do it. I said I was going to do it. I just ran out of time. It is what it is. He's got his hands full with that remodel, and I'm not going to lie to y'all, I'm shocked that he doesn't have anything going right now. No seeds. But I understand why he's doing that, and it makes total sense. I like to jump the gun because I'm impatient, y'all. I just am. And seriously, if y'all have not watched his ginger and turmeric videos, go check them out. Super informative, and I think y'all will enjoy them. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited to see his house when it's done being remodeled, because that is something I wouldn't do. I don't have a clue. Okay, so that's all the updates from around the country that we have right now. If you are a YouTuber, or you're just even thinking about doing a YouTuber, I would love to just be a part of this video. Over to Instagram, same title name on my Instagram channel as I have on this channel, Down Home Backyard Gardening. Drop me a DM and let's talk. I would love to have people from all across the country. And if there's anybody up in Canada that would like to join in, by all means, reach out, let's talk. This is a lot of fun, and you could be our Canadian ambassador. How about that? Let me give you a real quick rundown of what's going on in my backyard. I really don't need to, right? You can kind of see it behind me. It's all dead. It's sad. Everything that's dead has to come out, which will be happening very, very soon. Oh, so garlic. This is my garlic bed, and I think it was 5 or 6 days ago, it was under 4 inches of snow. Well, I'm gonna be honest, I think I'm fine. Everything looks just fine. The carrots are looking good right there. Swiss chard is done. Coming on down, more carrots. And honestly, this patch is looking better today than they did before the cold. These are all kinds of, what are those? Turnips. So I don't have a clue if they survived. We got a cabbage right here. We got that Mizuna. Some radishes, some lettuces that survived, I guess. Nature blows my mind, y'all. I love when things come through, fight through, but okay, I'm telling you, I cannot grow a cabbage. That thing looks absolutely pathetic. It's sort of kind of starting to head up right there. Not really. It's not going to do anything. That Brussels sprout looks terrible. I'm just going to seriously stop growing brassicas. I just can't do them. I don't know why. It is what it is. So everything in this bed is completely shot. All these basils and eggplants and all that, done. All these basils are done. Pea plants. These pea plants seem to have survived. Sorta. Yeah, I don't know. It's all good. I said it before the freeze, and I'll say it again. I do not mind a freeze. I don't mind a little bit of winter weather here, because for me, I honestly have trouble pulling plants out. I hate doing it. Like, you spend all this time growing them, and it's like, oh, I gotta pull you out. So when this happens, and then you don't have a choice, you gotta pull everything out because everything's dead, it makes it a little easier. So I blame Mother Nature for that. And I don't have a clue if those are going to come back, but you know what? We're going to leave them, see what they do. Hopefully they will, but I know they won't. But everyone, so that's the video. That's the garden update for me and from across the country. And again, I love doing this as a way of just showing everyone what's going on around the country at the same time on one video. And again, if you're interested in joining us, go over to Instagram, DM me, and let's talk. On behalf of all the channels that are on this video, their links are down below. Go check them out, subscribe, join this fast-growing community of like-minded gardeners here on YouTube. Click on them all. We all have a little different take on what we're doing, and I think that's the fun thing about YouTube, is you can just come to one channel and you can see so many different people on what they're doing, their styles of gardening and all that. It's just a lot of fun. And again, keep Brian and their family in your prayers, please. Y'all take care. God bless. We will continue doing this every month from here on out. I hope you all enjoy this video. Hope you got something out of it, and I'll talk to y'all again real soon. Bye.